Hey there YouTube, welcome to another Tech Me Out video. Thank you so much for being here. Please consider subscribing to our channel and even hit the bell icon so you will be notified when new videos come out. Today I would like to continue our discussion about backups in general, and the focus of this video will be backing up virtual environments, VMware or Hyper-V, using our Synology NAS. If you work in IT, you know that these days everything in the infrastructure is virtual. Our Active Directory servers, print servers, file servers, application servers, everything is virtual. So the ability of backing up and restoring virtual machines if something goes wrong is at the core of our infrastructure. Same goes to our home labs. We have maybe some virtual machines, we have a few hosts, maybe a cluster, and we want the ability to back up our virtual machines. Until not too long ago, applications like Vim or Commvault were out of our reach because they are so expensive. But now the game has completely changed. Since Synology came up with the Active Backup for Business, ability to back up virtual machines is now not only there for us reliably, easily, fast. The most important thing is that it's completely free, no licenses are needed, and we can just go into the application, type a few credentials, a few configurations, retention policy, schedule, and forget about it. From there, Synology will take over, do the backups, and the restoring is so easy. We have several options, like for example an instant restore, where the virtual machines is just powered on and the NAS is acting as our hypervisor. Until we get things fixed and completed, the virtual machine is up and running on our Synology NAS. And of course we have the classic restore option, where the backup files are transferred to our ESXi or Hyper-V host, and the virtual machine gets powered on like nothing happened. So of course I will demonstrate the Active Backup for Business ability to back up our virtual environments, and you will see exactly how easy it is and how robust. So let's jump right into the computer and see how this is done. Alright, so we are at the computer, and a word of caution before we get started. I recently upgraded my VMware environment, both ESXi's and vCenter Server, to version 7. I went ahead, I upgraded, and then, something that I forgot to verify before doing it, Active Backup for Business, at least as of October 2020, does not support yet VMware version 7. So I had to turn to another product I will focus on in this channel. It's called Nakivo. So I back up my virtual machines with this product. But I really wanted to demonstrate Active Backup for Business ability to back up virtual environments. So I found an Intel NUC laying around the house. I installed ESXi 6.7 on it. I added it to my vCenter server in its own separate cluster, and now I'm happy that I have the ability to demonstrate Active Backup for Business ability to back up VMware environments. So let's jump right in. This is actually my real physical NAS device. This is not a virtual NAS that I used to create past videos on. This is my real so-called production NAS. Let's open up Active Backup for Business and go to the virtual machine section. If this is your first time using Active Backup for Business to back up virtual environments, what you will need to do is to click on Manage Hypervisor, and then you will be asked the IP address or FQDN of your vCenter server or Hyper-V host. You will need to provide a username and password, click Apply, and then all the virtual machines will start to populate in this main window. So now that we have the connection or we have the ability of Synology to see our virtual environments, it is so easy to just create a backup task, and we will create one right now, and then we will see how easy it is to restore. So what we will need to do is to simply click on create a task. We choose our backup destination. For us it will be the default Active Backup for Business shared folder. That's fine for us. And now we need to give the task a name. Let's call it NUC, and pick and choose the virtual machines that we want to backup. And as you can see, the Active Backup for Business sees exactly what we will see if we will browse my vCenter. You see, I have two data centers and two clusters. This data center is just for demonstration purposes, and Active Backup for Business has the ability to see because we connected it to our virtual environment. Let's choose a virtual machine. Let's pick this one. It's a virtual server 2019. We will click on next. Let's do the application aware backup. Let's enable data compression. We can also set the maximum amount of concurrent backups. So if you have, I don't know, 100 machines, you can select from 1 to 10, and this will be the number of concurrent virtual machines that are that Synology will back up at any given moment. If you will choose one, for example, only one virtual machine will be backed up one after the other. So for now we can choose, I don't know, 5. We're only backing up one virtual machine. Let's click on next. Let's create a schedule. Let's say it's daily at 3 a.m. That's fine. I don't want to keep all versions. For this purpose, I will only keep the 3 latest versions. We can entitle certain users. I have my Synology connected to or joined to my Active Directory, but for now we will keep the admin user. But you can note to yourself, you can add permission to Active Directory users or groups. We have a summary screen. We will click apply. I will back up now because we want to back up as fast as possible and to see the restoration. For now, we can see that the Synology, using the service account I created for this task, is starting to back up the virtual machine. Now, something that we need to focus on or prepare to. When we configure our Active Backup for Business, it asks us for the IP address or FQDN of our virtual environment, and it also wants a username and password. Now, the easiest thing to do is to give it the administrator account and password, and that will work fine. But I really recommend to create a new service account if we're talking about Active Directory, or a local user. And we even have from Synology, if we'll do a quick Google search, I will add the link to the description below, what exact permissions in VMware, in vCenter, we need to give the local user or the Active Directory service account in order to not over permission the user and still be able to do all the action it needs in order to back up the virtual machine. So let's go back to our Synology. The backup is on 10% right now. I will use some editing magic to jump to 100%, and I will continue the recording once we're at 100%, and we'll go through the restoration process. Alright guys, I had to resume the recording because I encountered an issue because of something I forgot to do. I didn't find any documentation about it, but I remember the previous times as I set up Active Backup for Business, I encountered this issue. I contacted Synology support and they showed me how to resolve it. So I was glad I encountered this problem again because it gives me the opportunity to share this knowledge with you. As you can see, the backup task tried to create a snapshot and failed. This is because of a certain component in the VMware tools that we need to remove. So what I did, I attached the VMware tools ISO to the virtual machine. As you can see, here it's a server core. It doesn't have a GUI. I launched the setup exe. I will click on modify here, and the component that we need to uninstall is this one, volume shadow copy service support. We will click on the X to remove it, next, and change. After this process finishes, I will need to restart the virtual machine, and after this is done, the backup process will complete without any issues. Let's click on finish. And now, even though it doesn't ask me, I will do a reboot. Let me close out this window and restart the guest OS. Alright, at this point, I will pause the recording, I will relaunch the backup task, and I will continue the recording once the backup task finishes. So now, after we removed the component of the volume shadow copy from VMware tools, the backup task completed successfully without any issues, and you'll see here no red X's that we really don't like to see. So now that we have our backup task finished, let's actually create a disaster. So we will need to restore to it. Let's go to a virtual machine, shut it down, and then I will completely delete it. Until that's done, let's go back to our Active Backup for Business and click on the Restore option. From here we have several restore options. Each one of them is a different use case. Of course, we will for now disregard the restore to Hyper-V because we're not using Hyper-V. We can restore from our NAS to our ESXi server like a regular restore, like Vim, like in Vim, like in Commvault, like every other backup application. We take our data, wire it to the ESXi host, and then we will be able to power on the virtual machine, and it's like nothing happened, we're restored. That takes a little time depending on your network latency and speeds. Synology takes the restoration options a little more in a versatile way, and they also give us an option to instant restore to Synology Virtual Machine Manager. That means that if you maybe lost your ESXi server, and until you bring in a new one and install a new one and configure it, or something like that, you have the option to take the virtual machine and actually power it on in VMM, in Synology Hypervisor, and have the virtual machine running and functional exactly as it was before until you get the new ESXi server up and running, and then you will be able to go ahead and restore to the VMware vSphere. That's an amazing option. It's something, keep in mind, this is a free product for Synology users, right? So it's very robust. Let's go ahead and delete our virtual machine completely. Delete from disk. I would like to focus on the restore to VMware vSphere, although I will, if you'd like to see also the option of restoring to VMM, please comment below, and if there are enough comments I will do the instant restore to virtual machine manager. Let's go ahead and do the classic restore to VMware vSphere. I would like a full virtual machine restore. The instant restore is for quickly restarting this VM by mounting the backup data to the ESXi server and then launching the virtual machine while the data is still on VMware in Synology. The virtual machine is in regards to hypervisor is back in ESXi, but the data is still in Synology. And here we will choose the full virtual machine restore, which means I want to copy the data back from Synology to VMware and to launch the virtual machine completely from ESXi server side, from vSphere side. Let's click on next. This is the virtual machine. Restore to the original location. That's great. I do have the option to pick a new location, or maybe new setting, maybe I want to restore it to an isolated network first, or maybe to a different data store. We have the option here. Of course, we can regenerate a new MAC. Sometimes MAC addresses need to be changed. Maybe some applications are sensitive of that, but we will keep it simple for now. We will restore to the original location. We have a summary tab here. I do want to power on the VM automatically after the restoration because I want things to go back to normal as fast as possible. Let's click apply, and the restoring is starting right now. The data is flowing now from the Synology to our hypervisor. You will see that a new virtual machine is created, and Synology also appends a timestamp, which is fine by me. Of course, we will not wait for the entire restoration to be completed. I will pause the recording right now, and I will continue it once the restoring is done. Alright, so the restoration is done. It went relatively very fast. Keep in mind, it takes the entire virtual machine data. It could be a few dozen gigabytes, if not hundreds. It copied them back to the ESXi server relatively very fast. The virtual machine now has powered on. It got the IP address. It's completely pingable. As we can see, I will try to ping the virtual machine. .30.97. Okay, it's not replying to pings actually. Let's see what's wrong. Alright, so it's my bad actually. It's the virtual machine is in an isolated VLAN, but as you can see, it's completely restored. It can ping 8.8.8.8. It's up. It's completely up. The Active Backup for Business has done its job, at least in my opinion, very thoroughly, very fast, very efficient. I think that this tool, not only that it's in regards to features, it's completely rich, and it has everything at least that I needed. It's completely free. You don't need to purchase a license. It's great. It's robust. It gives you restoration options that are very flexible. It's something that for me, as a Synology owner, it's a must-have application, at least if you're running virtual machines. So keep in mind a few closing notes. If you want to use this feature, do not update, at least as of October 2020, to VMware version 7, not ESXi at least, for that matter. vCenter server, as you saw, it's able to handle it. I launched this entire demonstration on vCenter version 7. Don't forget to remove the volume shadow copy component from the VMware tools, and something that I would like to give a little bit more focus on is the creation of a service account if you're running in an Active Directory environment, or create a local account on your ESXi server that has the minimal amount of permission, according to the article that I will give a link to in the description field below. Keep in mind, using the administrator account is always the easiest option, but it's really not recommended security-wise. So guys, I hope this has been informative and fun. I'll see you all in the next video. If you liked it, click the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.